morning and welcome again, and a very happy Easter. I hope it was a blessed time for you and your family and friends. The text I want to share this morning is a rather beautiful text in Luke, where two of the disciples of Jesus are fleeing the Jesus project. One of them, Cleophas, was a witness to Jesus in his life. He was a disciple, and he had seen so many miracles and healing and preaching and so on. And the other was his wife, who was at the foot of the cross, accompanying Mary, some of the women, and John, the beloved disciple. And they're fleeing Jerusalem and the whole Jesus project, disillusioned, saddened, and confused. And they're sharing their stories and their feelings and their confusion. And Jesus joins them on the walk. They don't know, but they think it's just a stranger. But they welcome him into the journey. And he asks them, "What are you talking about?" And they tell him all that's happened in Jerusalem these last days. And Jesus says, "What?" And Cleophas says, "Are you the only person in Jerusalem who doesn't know what has happened?" He said, "What?" He said about Jesus of Nazareth. We had hoped that he would bring about the liberation and the freedom of Israel. But the chief priests handed him over to the Romans to be killed, and he was crucified. And even though some of the women have said that the tomb is empty, it's finished. We're going home. And Jesus says how slow you are to understand the scriptures about Jesus. And he goes on to tell them, explain to them all the texts in scripture that point towards the Messiah and how he would have to suffer and die and so bring about new life, freedom and truth. And when they're getting towards Emmaus, the town, Jesus makes as if to go on, but they say to him, "No, stay with us." Which is an interesting twist. If we go back to last week, Jesus said to the disciples, "Stay with me." This time they're saying to Jesus, "Stay with us." And so he does. He goes into the house and he joins them at table. And while they're at table, Jesus does a recognizable gesture. He takes the bread, he says the blessing, he breaks the bread and shares it with those at table. And it's in that instant that their confusion, their sadness fall from their eyes and they see him as present with them. And he disappears. And so they get up almost immediately and go back to the Jesus project, go back to the disciples and share their story of having recognized him in the breaking of bread. And they tell Cleophas and his wife that, yes, Jesus has appeared also to Peter. And that's the story, and it's really beautiful, it's rich. But what I want to focus on with you today is, having been influenced by listening to or watching the discourse that the Pope Leo gave on Easter Sunday, what they call the Urbi et Orbi speech, which means to the city and to the world. And he spoke for a short time, not very long, but he recalled a theme that Francis has used quite a lot too, and that is encounter. Meet one another. Listen to one another. Accept one another and respect one another. Encounter. And I think that's beautifully captured in the story I've just shared with you of Cleophas and his wife and Jesus. Because when they were leaving Jerusalem, Cleophas and the wife were sharing were meeting together and sharing their sadness and their confusion and their hurt. And then Jesus joined them and they welcomed him in. And he asked, "What are you talking about?" So they shared their story. He wanted to know where they were at. And then he responded and they listened to him. And then when they got to Emmaus, they invited him in. And he accepted the invitation and shared table with them. And while they were sharing, he made that beautiful gesture, which we call the Last Supper, so well, and probably many other occasions in his life when Jesus had shared table, but especially the Last Supper. And it was then, in the sharing and in the encounter, in being together, in respecting and recognizing one another, that the confusion and the pain fell from their eyes and they recognized him as being present. And present not in the synagogue or the temple, but on the road. He was with them on the road. And he was with them at table. And they hadn't recognized him. And I think it's a message for us too. We can be so concerned with our own needs, wants, hurts, that we don't see that God is present with us on the journey. That God is here. We need to open our eyes to listen more clearly and hear and to encounter one another. So may that be an experience for you and your family in Easter season, which goes right through to the Ascension and the coming of the Spirit. So may that be an experience for you and your family and friends. Encounter. And what a beautiful thing that would be for our world today. Okay, God bless and have a great Easter season.